Welcome to Let's Connect Greater Portland, a show about the changes and challenges we face and the great things that people are doing to make Greater Portland a fantastic place to work, live, and play. I'm Kristina Egan, your host. 2 weeks ago, we had Mark Dion and Dylan Pugh, two candidates for mayor in Portland, join us. And this week, I'm joined by the three other candidates, Pious, Justin Costa, and Andrew Zarro. We're so glad to have each of you. Welcome, Justin.
Welcome. Thanks for having us.
It's great to have you. And thank you, Pious, for coming.
Thank you for having us.
And Andrew, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
So you three have been, with the other two candidates, through a lot of structured debates. And we're going to do this a little different today. We're going to have more of a conversation. And as your facilitator today, I'll try to make sure that everybody has equal airtime. But I know I've been really impressed watching this race about how civil and respectful all of you are to each other. So I don't anticipate we'll have any issue with that, but just want to remind you to be very respectful of one another and allow for enough airtime for everybody. We're going to jump right in. And Pious, I'm going to start with you and ask you, why are you running for office? Why do you want to be the mayor of Portland?
Well, thank you very much, Christine. I came to America about 20-something years ago, and not long after that, September 11 happened. And Portland embraced me because I know that if I go back to Ghana, I may not be able to return. When I came to Portland, I had a job in the waterfront in a restaurant called Giovanni's doing dishes. And 20 years later, or 20-something years later, I have founded nonprofit. I've worked with people who are at the merge, at the sphere of our society, people who are marginalized. I've worked with immigrants to get them to be integrated into our system. I have run for school board and got elected. I've run for city council and got elected over and over. And the opportunity and the promise that this city gave me is at a point where it may not be available for the next generation. Think about it. I'm sitting here talking to you with the possibilities of being the next mayor in the best city in New England. And
Here.
And I want to make sure that myself and the listeners and everyone, including you, have the opportunity or have the ability to work collaboratively to make sure that that promise and that opportunity that was given to me is available to everybody who moved here, whether they are immigrants, white, black, LGBTQ, whether they are from rural Maine or from some big city somewhere. If they chose to live in Portland, I want that opportunity and that promise to be available for them. That's why I'm
City
running.
of opportunity. It's a beautiful vision.
Yeah, that's why I'm running.
Thank you. Justin, how about you? What's the reason why you would like to be mayor?
Yeah, thanks, Kristina. Portland is a really special community. I fell in love with it when I moved here 15 years ago. I grew up not far away in Brunswick, but moved here shortly after I graduated college and had the opportunity to get involved. And I really fell in love with the community of Portland and how we care about each other, how we look out for each other, how we spend so much time focused on trying to help the people that need help in our community. And, what I've seen over the last few years is I think that the city government is struggling to deal with some really complex issues, and we're struggling to tackle sort of these big ideas like affordable housing and homelessness and those things and boil them down into real concrete policies that can actually get passed and start being implemented and affecting people's lives. And, I have had the tremendous honor of serving in government. I was on the school board for 6 years. I was on the city council for 6 years after that. And, I know how the systems work and I know the policy issues, and I was effective at getting things done in both of those roles. So I think we need a little bit more of that in City Hall right now, and I would like to do that work and help get us back on track.
Great. Thank you, Justin. Andrew, and how about you?
Thank you, Kristina. And thank you, WMPG, again, for having us. And happy belated birthday. I think it was 50 years this August.
That's right.
So, that question is always the obvious question that we're all asked. And people usually say it with, hey, are you okay? Making good decisions for yourself, buddy? The reason I'm running for mayor instead of running for my District 4 seat again is because the obvious, I love this city so much. But there are some significant challenges we're facing, including housing affordability, homelessness, climate change, our infrastructure, transportation. Those are some pretty big ones and are much bigger than Portland. But Portland's a major player. I've been a really effective counselor for the last 3 years representing my district. I've pushed a significant amount of policy and ordinances out of the committee that I chair, Sustainability and Transportation. But I'm someone who's maybe there's something funny about me, but I love municipal government. I mean, I truly love being of service. I was a small business owner for 6 years, and my favorite part of the day was making a coffee for people and saying, "What's going on with you? How's your life?" Or, what's good, what's bad? And that's in part what inspired me to run for city council, because I wanted to be of service in a bigger capacity to make my constituents' lives better today than they were yesterday. And that remains to be true. And the reason why I'm running for mayor is because I have a vision for the city and concrete plans to get there. We're not going to move the needle if we just talk about, gee, these are big issues. We need a vision, but we need someone who is experienced in pulling people together, who's a bridge builder, and enacting those policies. It's not going to be easy, and we're not going to do it alone. But that's my call to action. That's why my campaign, I keep saying, is a promise to meet our greatest challenges. It's a promise to Portland, and to do it with the region as well in mind, because none of us can succeed on our own. So I've had an amazing experience through this campaign, and I'm so grateful for the thousands of Portlanders I've been able to talk to and listen to them about what matters most, because that's how any of us will succeed as an elected.
Well, you just totally anticipated my next question, which is, what are Portland residents saying to you as you're out on the campaign trail? And Pious, we'll go back to you to hear what's happening when you go into somebody's living room. What's top of mind for the folks that you're talking with?
Well, mostly people, Portland residents, which I'm grateful to have talked to many people through canvassing, is that those who are paying close attention will ask you what is going on with our neighbors who are unhoused or lack of housing. They are both two crises that they are connected to each other. And all people will ask you about asylum seekers. Those are some of the three items or three issues that most people do discuss with us. And sometimes I will have a volunteer in a different part of the city, and somebody said that, well, I want to ask him how is he going to work on this or that item, and then I will get on the phone with them and say, hey, what are your questions, and then we will discuss it. So yeah, those are the three items that I think or I believe that is at the front of most of the conversations that I have had as a candidate and also as a sitting city councilor.
And Justin and Andrew, I imagine that both of you are hearing also about homelessness and housing and asylum seekers. Are there other things that you're hearing that are top of mind? Either one of you, just jump right in.
Yeah, I would say those are the big ones, and also schools. I think that people are concerned about the Portland public schools and the way things have been going after the last year. So
yeah,
but yeah, no question about it. Housing and homelessness are two of the biggest issues right at the top of mind for everyone.
Great.
Yeah, I would definitely rank those as the top two issues on every Portlander's mind. And I do think that those are going to be the two significant reasons why people are going to go to the polls or vote early if they already have. For me, I am a climate person and I'm an infrastructure person. People know that about me, so they are able to have those conversations with me when I'm at doors or at events, because we can't look at these issues, whether it's homelessness or housing affordability or climate or schools or whatever, as silos. We're municipal government's first responder on everything for the most part. So these are interwoven. And that's why it's really important when we're having these conversations, when we're talking about climate, we're also talking about racial justice. We're talking about housing affordability. And, those are some of the best living room conversations with people when we have those connections together. You might start here, but you pull that thread and you find your way all the way into a completely unrelated issue.
We talk a lot about those intersections between social equity, climate, the economy, infrastructure on this show, and we'll dive into those a little bit more. But first, I just want to recognize that you guys are doing exactly what I thought you would do, which is being wonderful to one another. And this is kind of unusual. This is it feels like a little bit of a different political tone in Portland. Do you have a sense of why you all get along so well?
Well, I'll bite it. I mean, I think that you have to be a bit unique to sign up for political service in the first place. And
Unique.
yeah,
I can have a lot of people.
I think sometimes from the outside, one of the things that gets lost is, if you haven't had that experience, the whole job of being an elected official is just a constant stream of making difficult choices. And so, in my experience, most people figure out pretty quickly if they can't sort of handle that emotionally. And the folks that continue to do it are ones that decided, yeah, we can deal with that. And so you sort of come to peace where every conversation we have is going to be about something that matters, and you're not going to agree on everything, and you find a way to not take that personally, even though the issue is so big, that you can divorce your views from the issue from your views on the person.
Very few personal attacks, it feels like. And yeah, Pious and Andrew, do you have other thoughts about why the tone of this mayoral competition is a little different?
Yeah, I mean, I think that people right now want to see folks who appeal to their higher self. We've seen what it's like at the state and the federal level. We've seen the worst of the worst. We've seen what that looks like. That doesn't work for people. Our job at this level of government is to look at you, taxpayer of Portland, and say, how am I serving you? How am I making your life better? They don't want to see drama. They don't want to see squabbling. And believe me, we've all disagreed on issues. That's normal. We want that in our democracy. But nobody, I think, wants to see someone in these seats that's a bully or that wants to push people down. I don't think that's Portland's values. And I think the five of us have established relationships over the years, or new relationships. And we know at the end of the day, win or lose for any of us, we're still neighbors, right? And neighboring is a verb, whether it's you and your neighbor, your literal neighbor right next to you, or the city of Portland and, the city of Westbrook, right? We have to treat each other with dignity or we'll never get anything done.
Well, I agree with both of them. I also think that engaging and treating people civically get more than. And if we are all aspiring to be the leaders of this beautiful and wonderful city, we might want to start, or we might want to sample that, show people this is who we are. And most of the issues that we are discussing, most of us do agree on issues. Where the disagreement will be on how to solve them. Mm-hmm. And I think over the years we've seen how dysfunctioning some leaders have been, and how that gets nothing done. And if you are going to work with 7 people or 8 other people whom you may not agree on anything, I think this is a good place to start practicing the possibility of this only 5 and then the write-in candidate. You're going to have 8 other people that is on one side, and then you're going to have city staff, and then you're going to have the larger public, which is about 67,000 people, whom you may or may not agree at any given time on any given issue.
Yeah.
So if you are not able to engage civically, engage with respect, then you are not actually fit to lead this city, because we are a city that have a lot of a high level of engagement.
Well,
civic engagement, yeah.
The 3 of you are giving me a high level of optimism for the future of politics here in Maine. And for those of you who are just tuning in, you're listening to Let's Connect Greater Portland, a show about the issues we face in Greater Portland and the movers and shakers leading the way. I'm here with 3 of those movers and shakers today, Pious Ali, Justin Costa, and Andrew Zarro, all running for mayor in Portland. As mayor, how important do you think it is for Portland to be working closely with its neighbors? And if you do, and I kind of think probably all of you do, like how, as mayor, are you going to reach out and work with the cities and towns that depend on Portland and Portland depends on? Start with you, Andrew.
Ooh, I love reverse alphabetical order.
I figured you're probably at the end all the time, right?
Actually, no. They've been pretty good about it this session. I mean, this could not be more of an important component of the mayor of Portland. That relationship with our counterparts in other municipalities in the region is how we are going to move the needle on any issues, whether it's climate, housing, transportation, homelessness, you name it. The mayor's role, the next mayor's, I think, primary function is going to be that conduit between the Portland city staff, the city council, our constituents, and the region. And I'm really proud that I've been able to do that in my capacity as a committee chair in my appointments to the Metro and other organizations. Because those relationships are so necessary to being productive. We are not only the economic driver of the state, but we are the transportation hub of the state. The state of Maine's greatest emissions, carbon emitters, are buildings and cars, right? And if we want to build a city and expand, we do need to grow. We need at least 10,000 units of housing in the next 10 years, I believe. We're 84,000 units shy.
Statewide, 84,000, about 24,000 in the greater Portland region.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the way we're going to be able to accommodate that is by also having a robust, well-funded transportation program. And, we can do that by working closely with our partners in the region, making sure that we're prioritizing rapid bus transit so that you're not going to drive in and out. We can grow in a way where we're protecting what we love about the place. We can, smart growth, right? And Portland's not going to wave a magic wand and be able to do that on our own. The only way we're going to do that is if we work closely with our neighbors.
Great. Thanks, Andrew. Pious, I'll go to you next. What do you think about the region's role and Portland's role in the region?
Well, I talk to the young people that I worked at to get things done in life. Your relationship with people will be relational instead of transactional. And as Andrew said, we both serve on the Metro board that we're lucky to be appointed by the mayor. And a very good example is when we remove our high school students from the Metro, the yellow buses into the Metro. USM picked it up and doing that, and Westbrook got on board. And now we have the possibilities of having the same system all over. Building relationship with our neighbors is the pathways to solving some of the major issues that we have. We are the economic engine of the state. The greater Portland community, I think, does have about 55% of the jobs from across the state. And if we don't work together, we are not being able to. The problems that we have in Portland, we eventually got to the other communities. Portland has always been a leader. An example is the Metro example that I gave. So whoever becomes the next mayor should be able to have those conversations. And I think I serve on your Center for Regional Economic Distance. And I have built a relationship with other municipal officials from across the greater Portland. That is how you start. And when I become the mayor, I will continue building those relationships and having difficult conversations on the issues that is impacting Portland.
Thank you, Pious.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think the next mayor is going to have to play a major role in trying to build broader coalitions and regional support. We see that right now, particularly when it comes to housing, when it comes to asylum seekers, when it comes to homelessness, all of the issues that are front and center for most people right now in the city of Portland are much bigger than the city of Portland. And we should be proud of the fact that we have long taken responsibility for trying to do something about it. But there's broad agreement across not just the three of us here, but across the spectrum that we're not going to solve these issues as one municipality. There are 1,600 asylum seekers that have arrived in a city of 67,000. We're going to struggle to deal with that on our own. And that has nothing to do with their asylum or immigration status or anything like that. It's simply a numbers game. And the next mayor is going to have to do a lot to work with other municipalities, work with Greater Portland Council governments and other regional organizations to facilitate regional responses to a lot of the issues that we're facing and to really turn them into opportunities. So to be concrete and give, but one example on the issue of people arriving seeking asylum. There's broad agreement that over the long term, this can be a major opportunity for Maine. We know what's happening long term with our demographics, with our workforce, and the lack thereof, which is becoming an increasing reality with each passing year. Portland can play a more proactive role in that. We can do more to outreach to other municipalities in the region and offer them support and say, we have experience with people that are newly arriving. These are the types of services that they need. These are the common pitfalls that we encounter when we're trying to get people housed for the first time and they're not familiar with the United States or whatever it is. All of those things are going to be on the plate of the next mayor, and they're incredibly important.
Thank you so much, Justin. That's great. So we're getting close to the end of the show. It goes so fast. So we're going to go into some rapid fire questions about some of the key issues that you haven't talked a lot about publicly already. So my first question for you is, what are your top one or two things that you would do to improve transportation in Portland and the region? Andrew? You're waiting for me to ask for something.
I've just been accustomed to being assigned a time. I think investment, right? If you want to get something done, you have to invest in it, not just financially, but there's lots of community capitals. And I think right now we have such an opportunity. But when I think transportation, I'm not just thinking bus, I'm thinking multimodal. Bike and pedestrian infrastructure. Anyone who tells me right now that they can bike around the city of Portland and they feel honky-dory, they don't ride bikes. I think we need to make it possible so that you can commute within the greater Portland area without having to choose a car first, whether it's access or choice.
Great. Justin, you next.
Yeah, just to pick up on that, I think there's a tremendous amount that we need to do around that. I also think that one of the things we have to do is we have to get very granular with it, and we have to expand on all the efforts that are looking at major employers that have started to relocate into the city of Portland, and how do we partner with them to create these smaller scale transportation type things so that not everyone is driving a car down there. Obviously offline that Greater Portland Council of Governments has been very involved in that, and we have long-standing relationships there. But things like that, it's not going to be one fell swoop that solves everything. It's a continual process of working with individuals and specific organizations and entities to make progress on regional issues like that.
Relationships again. Pious, what do you think about transportation?
Yep, I think Andrew and Costa have alluded to what can be done, and in addition to that is we can put all the transportation we want out. If people are not riding it, then it's not going to work. So the model that is used by Portland Public Schools and USM, where we get students to take the bus. My daughter, who we started the public transportation long ago before she got to high school. When she graduated from high school, I asked her, "Do you want a used car?" And she said, "No, Dad, I'm going to take I'm going to take public transportation." Yesterday, I picked her up from the bus stop. She came from Boston. She took the bus by herself. And I joke to people that at least if I have not been able to add anybody to take public transportation, my daughter is taking the public transportation.
There you go. Great.
So they are the future. How do we call it? Our young people are the future passengers. We know that you can put as many buses and as many. It doesn't matter what you put in place. You need to get people to. So we need to do education in addition to whatever my two friends here have said.
All right.
Education. Yeah.
Investment and education, public transportation, walking, biking, love it all. You're singing my song right here at the Greater Portland Council of Governments, and we all know that that's a climate solution too. So I'm going to go really rapid fire, like 2 or 3 words here. What would be the top thing you would do to, in addition to good transportation investments, to reduce greenhouse gases from the city of Portland? Andrew? 3 words.
Goodness, you're asking me to solve climate change in 3 words. Okay, so solar expansion and proliferation on municipal buildings, upgrading our electrical grid to 3 times the size that it is, creating a sustainability fund.
Okay, you're out of words, but those are great.
I got more.
Pious?
Using green energy in our housing, increasing what we have on charging stations for EV, and making sure that we have enough funding for the One Portland, which is between Portland and South Portland.
Oh, yeah. One climate future.
One climate future.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, Justin, all right.
Super quick. It's got to be about solar expansion, and we have seen a lot of change in state policy over the last few years, and Portland needs to think about how we can partner regionally to build additional solar farms because we have opportunities that weren't legal just a few years ago. So look forward to that.
Well, Justin, Pious, and Andrew, it's been just a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us. This was wonderful.
Thank you for having us.
I also want to thank Joshua Brister, who is our sound engineer, and WMPG, who is still celebrating its 50th birthday, and also collaborates with us at the Greater Portland Council of Governments in producing this show. You can reach us on Instagram at Let's Connect Radio. Join us next week for another conversation about the great work and the great people in our communities. Until then, be kind to yourself and to each other. I'm Kristina Egan. See you next time on Let's Connect Greater Portland.